And you've just heard What is the Lesson, the most recent single from Adeyemo. And I'm delighted to be joined by Adeyemo now. How are you?
I'm all right, thank you. How are you?
I'm really well. Thank you for taking the time to talk to me. And before we talk more widely about your music, can you tell us a bit about What is the Lesson?
Yeah, sure. So it's a song really about trying to move past emotional pain, and sort of questioning what you're supposed to have learned from a situation, or looking back on a negative experience and wondering what lessons you're supposed to learn from mistakes you've made or whatever. So yeah, I think it's really a song about struggling to move on from a situation. So it was kind of a mismesh of two different song ideas. So firstly, I was just walking through Paisley Town Centre, and kind of processing in my own mind kind of memories and things like that. So it was kind of inspired by that experience of just walking through the town centre and seeing like the bell and the tunnels, and they were taking the Christmas lights down, and that felt um, quite a powerful metaphor for me at that time. So that kind of worked its way into the song, and then the chorus was obviously asking basically, what is the lesson? What am I supposed to have learnt? How can I move on? And then the other part of that was I had this idea for the bridge that it would be to use the symbol of a pressed flower, like
Mhm.
a blue pressed flower. So the bridge is kind of just explores the situation where someone picks a flower, and they've taken it away from the other flowers and the sunshine, and they've just stuffed it in this old dusty book, and forgotten about it, and that maybe it's marking a page of a book that they can't be bothered to finish reading the rest of, and it's just marking the page, and it's just kind of abandoned and forgotten and discarded and pressed down, and that was really kind of a metaphor that I used within that song to explore how I was feeling about situations, um, and how the singer to raise it up a bit, but how the singer would be feeling. Yeah.
That's such a lovely image, and that idea of the pressed flower, which is something I hadn't thought about in some time. But I can remember in the past opening certain books and flowers would fall out from between the pages. And something about your songs, we'll talk about the other ones a little bit later, that are quite atmospheric. So that description, you've really, it's not just that you're talking about a feeling or you're singing about a feeling, but also you've got an idea of place as well, that you've thought about where you were and what you were doing at the time. How do you go about writing your songs? Is it different each time?
So I would say that more recently I have a bit more of a technique just because I've been doing it so much. So in the past when I was at uni, I used to write things like melody first, like I'd just get a melody idea, and or I used to write chords first and I'd come up with like a chord progression and then sing over it. But more recently, I've actually been writing lyrics first.
Right.
So I start with the words and I really take my time to make sure that the lyrics are getting across the meaning that I want them to get across, and that it's yeah, there's think about structure and things like that. So that takes me quite a long time, and then once I'm happy with the lyrics, I just sing them in my natural voice, and I just kind of wait until I hear how it wants to be. So if you're looking at kind of lyrics, I think usually, especially if you're singing it in your own natural voice, it will have a melody that it kind of wants to sit with. So I just sing it until it sounds right to me. And then when I'm happy with it and I think it sounds like something unique that I haven't heard before, and I think it sounds like something that sounds pretty and fits well with the lyrics, then I'll be trying to work out the melody notes. So what key it's in, basically. So usually if you're going up and down in a line, then when you finish the line, that will usually be the home note, or like, kind of the tonic.
Right.
So you can usually figure out what key it's in if you figure out that. note that you're coming back to, the one you're coming back to at the end of things, especially at the end of the song. That's a dead giveaway of what kind of key it's going to be in. And then once I kind of got that, I'll be thinking about chords to harmonize the melody, and how the chords sound flowing from each other, and to pick something that I think sounds nice. I try and pick like interesting chords as well, include something a bit interesting rather than just the usual suspects. And then it will be about kind of turning that into like a guide track to use in the studio. So I might be using like a VST instrument or something to make like a guide track to a specific BPM, and then I'll add my demo vocals on top. And then more recently it's been getting sent to Mark because he's the one who's been helping me with more of the he does the session instruments for it. So yeah. So that's been the process for the last 3 songs. Yeah.
I was going to ask you who else was involved in terms of the music, because it's kind of guitar and drums that kind of underline a lot of, or certainly the tracks I've heard so far.
Yeah, so more recently I've been working with a producer called Mark Ellis. He's really great. He's sort of a musical genius, he plays everything. So a lot of the time there's been existing demos, like with Five a Day. That was pretty much a finished demo, but there was just some stuff that I was just not happy with. So a lot of the time there's been stuff that to kind of develop on. And obviously I've been doing guide tracks most of the time as well. I think the only one I didn't do a guide track for was Social Distance, and there are 2 more due to come out soon. So yeah. Yeah.
But it's really interesting hearing you say that and describing how you do it, because I would say the 2 things that are most prominent in the songs are your voice and your lyrics. Because and hearing you talking about how you take time to work on both and get them to, when I mean harmonize, I don't mean harmony as in harmony, but the lyric and the voice to work together is really, really interesting.
Yeah, I'm quite careful with my vocals as well. Like I do all my own recording at home for my vocal parts. Yeah, that's something that I take quite a lot of care over. I try and well, I think yeah, I try and use like my raw vocals. So I try and really hit notes dead on so that we don't have to use any tuning and things like that. And the only times that we wouldn't be doing that is because we're having like effects on the vocals. So in Social Distance, for example, there are effects and you can hear them, that they add movement to the voice and things like that.
Yeah, because the music seems to support the voice and the lyrics instead. It could easily, particularly with drums and guitar, overpower it sometimes, but that's never the case.
Yeah. Yeah, Mark's very good at, yeah. I'm really pleased with how they're coming out. Yeah.
So you've released 3 so far. We're going to hear another one after we finish speaking, Social Distance, that you just mentioned. But you mentioned you've got another 2 planned to come out.
Yeah, they're still in the works. I think the instrumentation's done, but I just need to do the vocal parts for them. I had released loads of stuff in the past, but I just took it all down because I was like, let's move on now.
And did you release it under your own name previously as well?
Yeah, that it's always been Adeyemo. I think when I first set up, I was going to be Sadie Adeyemo, but then I decided that that's naff. So
And in terms of music being a big part of your life, has that always been the case?
yeah, I think ever since I was a little girl, I was always singing. I remember teaching singing lessons to my friends in the playground. I'm not sure what my qualifications were at that time, but never mind. Yeah, and I would always get compliments on my voice as well. So I kind of knew from receiving so many compliments that that was sort of a talent, and I really enjoyed it. So yeah, I think just since I was a kid, but really when I joined my university music society, that's when I became aware of band culture and that you could just start a band
Mm.
and that that was a thing that you could do. Because before that, I was just like doing musicals and choirs, and I didn't really like have a path to make original music, or I was writing stuff, but I didn't really like do anything with it, if you know what I mean. But then when I joined my university music society, that was when I really became involved with lots of bands. So that I think I was in like 4 bands at that time during second year of uni.
And when did you decide that you wanted to release your own songs?
Um, I don't think I ever really decided. I think I was kind of forced into because I've always wanted to be part of a band or part of a duo or whatever, and I'm always trying to rope people into it, you know. But at a certain point, you have to just be like self-motivated. Like nothing's ever going to happen if you're just like waiting on other people, and then they cancel, and then they let you down. And so I just started putting stuff out by myself.
And you release your own music, don't you? It's you're kind of self-released. Um, that's interesting, I think, for people who are listening who might not know how to go about doing that. How did you kind of approach releasing your own stuff?
Yeah, I think the hardest part of it is just the logistical aspects, getting the song together. If you have the song together, then it's pretty straightforward. These days, you've got different distributors you could choose from. I think the biggest ones all have really naff names like DistroKid and CD Baby and whatever. Yeah, so that part of it is straightforward. The hard part is getting the song to a releasable state, I think. Yeah.
And in terms of releasing music, do you have a plan for that, or are you just saying once the song is ready, I can put it out there? You know, because some people have great plans about, well, I'm going to release these singles, then that'll be an EP, and then that might be an album or whatever it might be. Are you just kind of taking it a song at a time?
Yeah, I think because I'm so perfectionist and I take my time so much on everything, everything takes me so long. So if I tried to do an album or something, it would take me like 10 years. Especially like when you're doing everything yourself or doing so much yourself. Obviously not everything. Mark's been a
Yeah.
big part of it, but when you're doing so much yourself, it does take um or I managed to make it take a long time.
And I was thinking about how I would describe your music, and I thought, actually, I'll just ask you, how do you describe your music? How do you think about it?
Um, I don't really know because I was previously in like a bluesy folky band called Striding Edge. So that's kind of where I kind of come from. But obviously, I think it's got a bit more of like an indie sort of side to it as well. I'm influenced by lots of different things. So I'm just happy for it to be what it is, as long as I like the sound of it that comes out. And that's how I imagined it in my head, then that's, yeah.
I would say I would think there is a definitely because of the guitars and drums, you have that kind of indie feel to it, but there's a soulful feel to it as well, and I think that comes from your voice. Um, is that something that you have always had, that kind of quality, almost almost this kind of slightly sad quality to it, you know, I mean, I'm mournful. I mean that in the nicest possible way. That's soulful in that you've talked about the thinking behind what is the lesson, and there's a thoughtfulness about it, I guess, in your lyrics as well.
Yeah, I mean, definitely, I do think about how the melody sounds. I try to listen to it until it sounds right, until it sounds like it's communicating what the meaning of the lyrics is, um, and um, and some to get something that I like as well. I've been singing since forever, so my singing voice is I don't have to think about it, if you
Yeah.
know what I mean. I don't like, yeah, it's not, I'm not really big on like singing techniques and things like this either. I think that as the main thing to consider is just being in key and making sure you're singing the notes that you're supposed to be singing. And that's what I worry about, and making sure that the delivery sounds the way that I want it to sound to communicate what I want to communicate. Yeah.
And you talked about influences. Are there influences that we might not expect on your music, or are they just so wide there's too many to mention?
Yeah, no, I think that maybe a lot of them are not the expected.
Mhm.
So my favorite artist is Suzanne Vega.
Mm.
So I think that she was active like in the 80s or 90s, so not many people of my generation will know her name. But I really just like I listened to all her discography, and I thought that it was amazing.
Yeah,
So that's kind of my favorite artist. But I'm also influenced by like folk music, like Emiliana Torini's Fisherman's Woman album was
yeah.
a big thing that I listened to when I was like 14, and everyone else was listening to like dubstep and Cascada and whatever. So like, yeah, I think that I tend to be influenced by quite niche things or things that maybe you wouldn't really expect, like Sheryl Crow and Katie Melua and Ella Fitzgerald, Jeff Buckley. Those are kind of my favorite artists, I would say.
And all incredible voices as well. Uh,
Yeah.
they're there. And I was a huge Suzanne Vega from the fan from the first one, and I've not thought about Emiliana Torini for a long time, but I must dig out my CDs because they are fantastic.
Yeah, I think she released one like a year ago as well, which is really good. A bit more electronic than Fisherman's Woman, but yeah.
And in a moment, we're going to hear Social Distance, as I said. Can you tell us a little bit about that track?
Yeah, so that was really inspired by kind of the pandemic. So it was came to me title first. So I just could see like social distance signs everywhere, and I was like, yeah, that could have another meaning, couldn't it? So the song just really draws parallels between the symptoms of coronavirus and the symptoms of having a crush on someone. So, you're kind of breathless and your cheeks go red. And so yeah, so that was kind of inspired by that and the idea that sometimes it's better to stay away from people. It's better to keep your social distance from certain people. Um, yeah, and in that context of the pandemic, that had that meaning as well. Um, yeah.
And
I wanted to do with the production of that as well. I had specific ideas about that the chorus should sound like it's moving away because it's about I moving and being socially distant and moving away. So we added kind of effects to make it sound like the vocals actually moving away during the chorus and things like that.
and do you use your songs when you're writing your songs to kind of reflect on either things that are happening to you or things that are happening around you?
I think that it's very important to write from a place of truth, because I think that you can hear when people are singing stuff that they don't actually connect with and doesn't is not true to them. So I always start from a place of truth, like even if it's just a feeling, an emotion that I'm having. But I think it's also I try not to make th songs too personal, because it's the song is not really the place for kind of your personal personal thoughts and feelings. It's not a diary.
Sure.
It's supposed to be something that other people can connect with. So
Mhm.
if it's too personal, then you're preventing other people from being able to connect with it. So I try to think about ways to express myself. So for example, with the pressed flower metaphor, so
Mhm.
that really just is I think it's an image that a lot of people can relate to. It's not personal, it's
Yeah.
just what happened to a flower. So it's not like there wasn't a real flower, but but it's true because that is how I felt in that relationship that I was kind of drawing on. So it does come from a place of truth, but it's raised up, I think.
I think even with your titles, it allows people in. So you've got social distance, and people can already make their own ideas what that might relate to, and then listen to the song. And same with 5 a day, everyone's got an idea about what that means to them, and whether they fulfill it or whether they don't fulfill it. But then you can take these single images or ideas and then expand on them so folk can almost expand on them themselves. They can think about what it means to them. Is that sort of what you're going for?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
And do you play live? Are you going to play live? What's the situation there?
Yeah, so I'm really a perfectionist, so I need to practice lots. But I am planning gigs next year. Yeah.
So when you have the dates, let us know and we'll let the listeners know because that would be great. And what's next for you? Can you tell us? I know you say you've got another couple of songs. Is that it at the moment? You're just kind of perfecting those first?
Yeah, I think that's those first. I want to get some music videos out as well because I haven't actually really done. I did like a lyric video, um, but I'd like to do like proper music videos. I'm a bit camera shy. I'm not great on camera, as you can see. So yeah, and yeah, just that really, and gigs and
Plenty to be getting on with. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to me. It's been fascinating, and I'm a big fan of your music. I'm looking forward to hearing the next couple of singles and beyond. But yeah, thank you very much for talking to me.
thank you for having me. Thank you so much.
And this is Adeyemo and Social Distance.